This is a matchup for the ages. Body cuts a path straight to the paint, and she serves up a slam dunk. Oh, Body may have the win, but Frank really got the W on that play. That's gotta hurt.
Kid Dance Tour. Live in Des Moines. Wells Fargo Arena, Friday, April 25th. With special guests, Beartooth and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at HighVTix.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
Hey, welcome to Two Guys. I'm ready to go. I don't know if Williams is. Van Winks, are you there?
This is just the classic. Like, we're in the madness of March. Everyone's just frazzled. We're trying to get a show out on a Friday. How you doing, brother?
We're like our basketball teams were yesterday. Iowa State and Iowa both bowing out of their respective tournaments. Williams is still in Kansas City, so he's getting situated, I think, trying to figure things out in the hotel lobby or something.
Yeah, his computer started updating right before the show, of course. He always has issues with this technology when he's covering tournaments. I think remember, was it Omaha last year? His stuff got stolen.
Yeah, somebody broke into his car and stole all of his stuff.
One year his laptop broke.
I'm in a bad situation myself. I don't have my laptop. So I am using my phone, and now I don't have my phone to look stuff up, and I'm on the website, so I can't see the chat, so I'm not going to see what all you beautiful people are saying about us, probably bitching about us having such a horrible start to this show. I don't know why Williams insisted that we go live immediately. It's not like we're on like a total, like we're off schedule anyway. We could have waited.
I'm good now.
Williams, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, are
you
okay?
I'm good now. Dude, that was the...
Oh, Jesus. Is this really happening?
He moved his mic and muted him. Williams, you're muted.
This is embarrassing.
All right, now we're good, right?
This is not even a C+ effort today. Not even a C+.
Is this a Drake D+?
This is this is failing. Although I've heard from a lot of people that say that the grading scale has changed for kids, and that like a C+ can be like 50% and a failing grade in some classes. I don't know. I don't have kids, so I don't know how it is.
Well, you gave Fran McCaffery a C+.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
Called out for it too.
Do you not know that's why I mentioned that?
Yeah, I get it now.
Are you okay?
Sorry, I'm frazzled. Like, it was the weirdest thing. You know how like normally you have to tell your laptop that you're okay with it updating?
Mm-hmm.
I was up there at the bar getting a coffee like before the show, and I was opening my laptop so I could just be in the studio ready to go, and my computer just shut down and started updating.
And now you have terrible internet too. It looks like you're going in and out, but we've got you right now. So we'll take as much of you as we can get, Williams.
He looks good to me. He looks fine to me.
Okay. Are you sure?
That Florida internet.
Yeah, maybe it's my internet.
Anyways,
we should just shut it down. We should just not do the show. We should just quit while we're behind.
Hey, at least I have a positive attitude. The last time you were on location, you remember you just came into the show just pissed off, wanting to fight everybody.
Yeah, that was I was between shoot arounds. I had just done one shoot around. I had to get to the other, and I had room service. I was trying to eat. It was my only chance to eat was during that show, and room service never came. Now you're putting me in an even worse mood. I'm already upset because of the way the show has started, and now you're making me think
Nobody's
of that.
in a
Jesus
worse mood
Christ.
than me. I promise you I'm in the worst mood of everybody.
You're on a family vacation in Kansas City. Enjoy it before you go on the
Bullshit.
road
It's not
again.
a family vacation, Matt. It's a work trip that I brought my family to. Okay.
Well, that work trip is over. Iowa State is done.
Yeah, it is. We're gonna go and I think we're going to like a science museum today.
That sounds horrible.
Take them to the Negro Leagues Museum. The kids
what?
will love it. The Negro Leagues Museum in Kansas City. It's awesome.
I've heard that's
My
amazing.
kids won't like. My kids will not like that. I would love to go to
what?
that. My kids would not like that.
I went last year. It was incredible.
Yeah, we're going to some science thing today, and I actually apparently we're gonna have like horrible weather in Iowa. Is that true, Matt? Like
Yeah, we've got
5 alarm, like massive tornadoes.
Yeah, we have I think it's a severe thunderstorm warning tonight. It's supposed to be mostly wind. I think there's a slight chance of some hail and tornadoes, but yeah, there's going to be a big storm coming through tonight, so be prepared. Amber Alexander's got you covered, I think, on Iowa Everywhere socials, so.
Good. And then everybody needs to go out and see you guys tomorrow night at Circa. Or not at Circa, but at Wellman's.
Yeah, we're going to be out at Wellman's. Murph and Andy are going to be out there. Sipker's going to be out there. I think Aiden and Kate are going to be out there.
Wow.
6 o'clock out at Wellman's, West Des Moines on the rooftop. Circa's going to be out there handing out stuff. And, yeah, it'll be a good time. Unfortunately, our teams won't be in it, but, yeah, there's some fun games to watch at least.
All right. Well, we have no show rundown today.
No,
it was
don't need one today.
Purposely put together this way. Okay, so Fran gets tossed in potentially his last game as Iowa head coach, although he is digging in. Like he said last night, that they're planning on playing in another game in one of these postseason tournaments. Is that right?
Yeah, he says they're going to. That it's going to happen. I believe were his exact words, whether it's the Crown or the NIT. And the Crown doesn't start until the week of the Final Four. So that's a long way out. I have to imagine that if it's not his last game, he will just be coaching as a lame duck in that if he wants to. I think Beth Getz is going to have to make a decision here. Maybe today. Maybe she's already made the decision. I'm talking about an announcement. She's going to have to make an announcement. Maybe today, maybe over the weekend, but definitely long before any postseason tournament that Iowa plays in. And I think she could say, look, if Fran wants to coach that, if the players want to play in it, fine. But we're moving on. We're parting ways, and it can affect the coaching search. And I don't think it will. I don't think that there's any way that Beth would put all that stuff off just for a meaningless postseason tournament.
So then Iowa State loses. And I don't know what happens when Iowa State and BYU play, but they play the craziest freaking games.
It's fun to watch.
Oh my God. I was I was disappointed yesterday because those guys without Gilbert and Lipsey kind of played out of their ass, really, right? Like, if we're just being honest, that team scoring 92 points but the problem is you give up 96.
Yeah, I don't know that they could have played much better other than maybe playing a little bit better perimeter defense, but they just made their shots. They made 18 to 36 shots. I mean, what can you do? You tip your cap to them. I thought Iowa State played a pretty damn good game. They didn't really turn it over. They had some great offensive performances from a lot of different people. They were playing Cade Kelderman, a walk-on, for nearly 20 minutes in this game against one of the hottest teams in the country. I don't know. I mean, it's probably a good thing they didn't win, because I don't know that you want to play Lipsey or Gilbert in any more games anyway going into the tournament.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree, especially if if Lipsey's already hurt. So let's say they win that game yesterday and he doesn't play today. Well, now everybody else is playing all these extended minutes too.
Mm-hmm. What's the feeling down there amongst Cyclone fans? I mean, I'm sure they're disappointed they don't get to see another game today, and they're going to be heading home and all that. But about the NCAA tournament,
it's mixed. So I think the fact that they lost, I think a lot of people, and myself included, you can find a positive in yesterday, and like all these guys played well, and really it's like it's as good of vibes as you can have after a loss. It kind of feels like that Houston game. Remember that Houston game a couple weeks ago where it's just like two guys are out, it's us against the world, that type of thing.
I understand them being proud of the effort in the game and all that, but like looking ahead to the future and the overall feeling of this team going into the tournament.
I do think it's mixed. I think there's this belief that this team is still good enough when healthy that it can put together a run. And I think that's very rational. There is an overwhelming sense of like, man, this sucks. And it's like, if you think back to Momcilovic going down in January, it's like they have not been healthy since. And it is what it is now, right? Like it was disappointing. Like you come into it with Big 12 championship aspirations and all this stuff. And now you hope you can hang on to the 3 line. I think that they will. I'd be surprised if they drop to a 4 seed in the
Ben Winks, did you look and see where Palm and Lenardi and some of the bracketologists have Iowa State this morning?
Palm just updated his right before the show. He's got Iowa State and Milwaukee on that 3 line matched up against Robert Morris. And interestingly enough, second round could be against Mississippi State. Another good team there on the SEC.
Wait, are they in the same region as BYU? Is that what I'm seeing here?
No, BYU would be in Lexington.
Yeah, but aren't they in the same?
Yes.
So they play them in the They could play them in the Sweet 16.
Well,
oh my God.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, they'd be Alabama, BYU. Yeah. Could
okay.
be.
I'll bet you $100 that Drake is on that other end if Iowa State's in Milwaukee.
What line would they need to be? Would they need to get up to a 10?
If Drake is an 11.
Then Lenardi's got Iowa State as a 3 seed as well. Milwaukee.
Okay.
This was updated late last night.
Second round
would be
Troy.
against.
So, for what it's worth, I have a birdie who's pretty up on this seeding stuff and like how the whole thing works. And Wisconsin making a little run right now. There's a real possibility that Kentucky is one of the preferred seeds in Milwaukee, that if Kentucky and or Wisconsin would jump Iowa State is the fear, which would push Iowa State to Denver. So that is, I thought for sure yesterday, I told my wife, I think it's 90, because we're trying to plan next week with kids. I think I'm 90% going to Milwaukee. I'll be able to drive games on Friday. And I would say I'm more like 60% sure now. I think there's a possibility that they end up in Denver.
Would that be Denver as a 4 seed then? If they get pushed down, or still be a 3?
They would no, it wouldn't be as a 4. I don't think anyone's worried about them dropping to a 4. It's just like, what 3 seed are you and what preference do you have from the committee?
Here's what I'd be worried about as it pertains to dropping to a 4 is we know the committee takes into account injuries. And for a lot of the season, we were thinking of that as a positive. Well, you're 19-2 and everybody's healthy. But what if they are very unsure about the health of Lipsey and Gilbert, and they're going to grade this team based on them being dinged up?
I think that's fair. I don't think you can. We can't count on Gilbert. Did you watch my interview with him?
No.
In the locker room?
No.
Pull that up, Matt, after what game? The Cincinnati game. I mean, he did not seem like a guy that's like, I think he'll play next week. And Otzelberger more or less said so on his postgame last night. But this didn't feel like Lipsey. I left with like, oh yeah, that guy totally is just they're getting him right. Like the Gilbert,
You would have to lock Lipsey in a cage in
Yeah.
Ames to not for him not to play in whatever tournament game.
They basically had to like hold him down yesterday. Like he was ready to go, but he admittedly wasn't 100%. And they're just like, watch this interview with Gilbert. This doesn't feel like a guy that's like ready to go out, and we'll see here. I'll get see what your opinion is.
I guess. Just a little bit of all of that. Just didn't feel like I had it, and then obviously pain, but hopefully feel better tomorrow.
Is there any thought of just saying I'm done for this week and be ready for next week?
It's a day by day thing. Just trying to, however it feel during that day. That's how we gonna go about it. Just trying to do what's best for me and my health.
Is it your back?
No. It's my groin.
Your groin? Is there a lot you can do rehab-wise for that, or is it a lot of just rest?
A little bit of both, honestly. I've been doing all the rehab I can, rest, but it's just a day-by-day thing.
I mean, and it just didn't feel like what is going to change in 5 days is my point. Like,
I mean, what changes is it's do or die, and
is that it?
It's over if you lose the game. Are you thinking that this is a guy that just doesn't want to play if he's in any pain?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying that. I don't think so. I know I've done this long enough where these like groin and hamstring, these types of injuries that just linger. My point is, like, from a physical standpoint with him, if he's in this pain, which he, of course he is, I'm not questioning that. Like, I don't think that's going to change much in 5 days. He's been resting it. It's not like they have been playing his ass off. Like, he's been basically in unload management for a while. I don't know. Like, I'm not even worried about Lipsey. He'll be fine. Mm-hmm. That was a strategic move. They made the right decision to sit him yesterday, no doubt in my mind. I don't know if from an Iowa State standpoint, if I can go into this tournament counting on Gilbert to like flip the switch, because that's hard to do. This is high level ball. Okay. Like he ain't LeBron where you can just like, oh, okay, it's the playoffs. Like the other teams have scholarships too. And I don't know. Like, I'm worried about that. Like,
and if he's not 100% in, because that's what you need out of him when he's on the court. Because if he's going to be one of your top defenders out there on the perimeter, you can't have him going at 60%. You've got to have him all in. And I have to think that. I mean, we're going to be talking about legacies here with a guy like that. I mean, it's time to step up. I mean, I think that. I would be really surprised if he's not out there playing, giving it his all next week. Oh. I'd be really surprised.
I want to be clear. I think he'll play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think he's going to, like, sit out or anything like I'm just saying, like, let's say the best he can get. I don't think he can be 100%, I guess, is where I'm going. Like, it just.
But Lipsey's never 100%, though, and he can still play well.
Lipsey's a weirdo, man. Like, Lipsey's one of the toughest. Like, he is just absolutely rock solid. Like, he could. Lipsey always is injured because he plays so hard. Like, he's going to be the guy who graduates and has, like, no body left to even play in the pros because he's killed himself for 4 years at Iowa State. And not everyone's built that way. I'm just saying, like, I think Gilbert will play. The point I'm making is I don't think we're going to get back to Keshon Gilbert in January.
Well, geez.
Yeah. I don't think you can flip that switch. I think it's too hard at this point to do that. I don't
think they need that version of it. They don't need the version that looked like the Big 12 Player of the Year for a little while early in this season. But they need him, and they do. I mean, if they're going to make this run, they're going to need everybody. I heard from a few Cyclone fans yesterday that are trying to adjust their expectations because
I think you have to.
And what does that look like? Because anybody going into this year or midway through the year would have said, at the very least, Elite Eight is the cut line. If you don't make that, this is a big disappointment. There were a lot of people that said that line is Final Four. Like, this is a Final Four team. If we don't make it there, I'm going to be disappointed. Now, what is it?
I think I want to get to the second weekend.
Get to the second weekend and see how the matchups like. 'Cause who knows? You could end up having a very favorable road
Very much. And
to the Elite Eight.
They're still a really good team. But it's the consistency. This is such a detailed, and there's so much nuance to this conversation because all this talk is 100% legitimate. Like, these people who are disappointed and they have all the right to be, but it's still a, there's a reason they've tallied off. They haven't been healthy they haven't had their team. And again, this is what you were the first person I heard bring this up weeks ago. It's just, and I asked Jefferson about it yesterday about how hard is it to have a rhythm when you haven't played together? And he kind of shot me down. I thought it was fun. I like Joshua a lot. He's a nice kid. He goes, I think we had plenty of rhythm. We scored 92 points. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
He kind of shut me up.
But it wasn't about this one game, Williams. I mean, this has been going on for a couple months.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, what is the NCAA? Two things are always going to be true here. You're always judged by how you do in March, which is why we don't think Fran McCaffrey will be employed much longer, right? He's the perfect example. Good regular season. So you're always judged by that. If this team would rally off and get to the Elite Eight, people are going to forget about the struggles of the last couple of months. They just will.
Yep.
The other thing about the NCAA tournament is that it's all about who gets hot and it's matchup driven. So you can still get hot. You can still do all that. You can still get great matchups. You can still make that run. You could also get a really bad matchup, and I think we all know this team could be upset in the first round. That's how I would put a bow on it. I've been accused, real quick. Do you think I'm doing this? Will says I'm fear-mongering right now.
In what way?
He says they are resting for the tournament and threw in the towel for the Big 12 tournament, just like Kansas has always done.
Yeah, well, that hasn't always worked out for Kansas. It's clear that they didn't want to play those guys because the big tournament is still out there. Like, if that was the big tournament yesterday, I'm guessing they would have played. But it's in my mind, it's not fear-mongering because this wasn't just a one-off. This wasn't just a one game. You lost it because you sat two of your best players. We're going on a body of work here and a team that has shown no consistency because there have been so many guys in and out of that lineup due to injury. We're worried about what level is Gilbert going to be able to play at? What level is Lipsey going to be able to play at? How are they all going to play together and make this run and put together several games in a row against top competition and win those games? Because we haven't seen it. The only stretch that they have won several games in a row is when they didn't play anybody. They had a 4-game stretch at the weakest point of their schedule. How are they going to do that against top competition in the tournament? Maybe it'll be against double-digit seeds, but these are tournament teams. It's not Colorado and TCU and the teams they play are going to be. This is going to be like a tough stretch in the Big 12. And can Iowa State be consistent enough to make that run? That's what I've been worried about.
I completely agree with you. So yeah, that's where I leave it. I'm confident in Lipsey's return. I think that Gilbert will play. I think that for this team to be on a real Final Four run, they're going to need a level from Keshon that is honestly the best case. I think for Keshon is get the guy that you had against BYU. who had 8 steals that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you can get that Keshon, which I think is doable, because he wasn't 100% in that game, but that was one of the best defensive games we've seen an Iowa State player have in years. If you know get that guy, let's go.
Ben Winks, will you pull up where the bracketologists have BYU? Because as of yesterday, I think they were on like the 7 or 8 line.
Imagine the 2 seed that gets them.
This is what's so frustrating to me about the committee not valuing what you've done over the last month more than what you did at the start of the season, because these are living, breathing organisms that change throughout the season. And BYU is not the team that they were at the start of the season. Palm has them as a 7 seed. I think is that Lenardi that's bumped them up to a 5?
Yes.
I mean, I think Palm had him as an 8 yesterday. This is a team that's won, 9 games in a row? 8 or 9 games in a row?
9. They're at 9 now.
4 straight against nationally ranked teams. This is legitimately one of the top 10 teams in the country right now, and some metrics say they're top 5.
That Bar Torvik website says they're the 2nd-ranked team in the country in the last month of the season.
They've won 6 straight quad 1 games. I mean, I'm sorry. I understand taking in an entire body of work, and that, maybe a win or a loss in November is every bit as important as a win or a loss in March. But you have to take into account what a team is right now. And I'm sorry, in no world would I have Iowa State, a team that BYU has beaten twice, several seed lines ahead of that team that we have seen. Consistent. And that's the thing. They've been consistently great. And that's rare for a team that lives and dies by the 3 to be this consistent with that. And I've been even more impressed with their mental toughness. Going into Hilton Coliseum, blowing a, whatever it was, 20-point lead, going into double overtime.
Who's keeping track?
In that Hornet's nest, to be able, Iowa State takes the lead, to be able to come back and win it. Yesterday, again, they were up double figures. Iowa State makes a huge run. Iowa State has a 9-point lead in the second half. And BYU comes back again. So impressed with that team.
Be really interesting. They play Houston tonight.
Yeah.
Like, you talk about contrasting styles. That'd be a fun game tonight.
Just pulled up Final Four odds to see where BYU's at. They are plus 1,100. So
it's a good bet.
Where does that put them? Like in the, are they top?
I'll pull up a visual here.
Top
that would be
15
probably
in
about, so Auburn and Duke are both at the same right now, minus 145 to make the Final Four. Then it goes Houston, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Tech, Iowa State at plus 440, Michigan State, St. John's, Gonzaga, Arizona, Wisconsin, Maryland, Kansas, and BYU.
Jeez, Kansas has better odds.
Kansas is not going to the Final
Four.
No,
Kansas is just below BYU. Plus 1,100 for BYU, plus 1,200 for Kansas.
I was talking to these Kansas fans hate their team. They hate their team.
I watched that game, the whole game last night. I mean,
I had a terrible day yesterday, so I went and blew off some steam with some friends and watched that game in the Power and Light with a bunch of Kansas fans.
Watching Dickinson for 2 years, it's got to be so frustrating.
They are so pissed off too that Self has they think that he's lost his fastball as far as roster management. That's, again, just a couple of drunks that I was talking to, but I can't disagree. Like, the way they've put these teams together in the last couple of years, they just don't fit together. And Bill talks about it. Like, he's not hiding it from anyone. I don't know.
What was the talk down there about K-State, too, as you talk about, like, overrated players?
Oh, they hate Tang.
Coleman Hawkins. Like, that, you have, like, 2 of the highest paid players
Tang's act is worn on his fan base now.
Wow.
That's cute when you're winning. Like, running up into the stands with the student section and all. Like, that's fun. They are pissed because – this NIL thing is fascinating. We called it, but, like, I feel bad for Coleman Hawkins. The dude just went and got paid what he was worth. You're worth what somebody will pay you. He went and took the money. But shit, every time they lose, he's being abused by fans. It is and I blame the people who run college athletics for creating it like this, where these fans are writing checks to the players because then they feel ownership over them. And the reality is, it's like, oh, they're professionals now. Yeah, they might be, but they're still 19 in a lot of cases, and they can't handle it. Like, this is a total train wreck. It's bad.
Payton Sandford had a quote yesterday that kind of echoed your sentiments. I don't know, Van Wink, if you have that ready to go.
Yeah, it's a quick one. He's it's just his thoughts on the NIL culture, I guess, and yeah, let's just hear it. It's pretty quick, so catch it real quick.
It was fair, man. College athletics has sold their soul to money, and it's going in a dark place, and you can see that everywhere.
Yeah, he said it's not fair there at the start. It was kind of cut off, but
I just wish it was fair, man.
A lot of fans took that out of context and thought he was talking about officiating.
Oh, no, yeah.
I saw that on – no, he was talking about NIL.
Yeah.
I think when he said it's not fair, it's like, look at what our roster is compared to others.
Fran talked about it too. Fran was asked, I believe, by Scott Docterman, about what it would take for Iowa to compete for Big Ten championships.
I have that sound too if you want to hear it.
Look at Van Wink's producer of the year, the MVP. Let's hear it.
What do you need resources-wise to be competitive, to compete for a Big Ten championship? And do you have everything you need infrastructure-wise in order to do so each and every year?
Scott, I think the numbers this year was you'd probably need $6 million. And we were nowhere near that. I think you know that. Those numbers are going to go north of that. Now, when the settlement is completed and the rev share number is what it is, we'll know what that is. But I think it's safe to say the collectives aren't going away. And those are the numbers that exist already, so we can only imagine those going up.
He echoed what I've been saying this whole time. These collectives are not going to go away. If you're just paying players from the revenue sharing, it's not going to be $6 million for men's basketball, not at a football school like Iowa. But I mean, $6 million. I think what he's saying is that's what the top teams were paying this year in the Big Ten. Probably the Michigan States of the world. Iowa, obviously, we've known from reporting from Scott Docterman and Chad Lysico that Iowa sounds like somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million in NIL. Now, there are plenty of teams
there's a
out
lot
there.
Of mid-majors spending more than Iowa.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that VCU program that I was out calling that game a couple of weeks ago. I guarantee that they're spending more than Iowa is on NIL. But there are teams that are spending $2-3 million that are doing just fine this year. I don't think you have to max out the number to max out your potential and what you can do. Look at Kansas State. Sometimes that doesn't work. It's about where you're spending that money. But what is Iowa going to spend with presumably a new regime, a new coach in this new revenue sharing era? Because they're going to max out to football, $14 million or so. That leaves $7 million for the rest of the athletic department. Got to imagine they're going to give, I don't know, a couple million, $1 million maybe to women's basketball. And then what's left for men? I mean, I think it's realistic that they get to $2 million next year, maybe even $3 million. I think that's realistic. You get some excitement, you get the revenue sharing. But as he said, this number is only going to go north. Like, you're going to have this number from the school, but these players aren't going to take a pay cut. Like, the BYU kid that's coming in next year, he's going to make $6 million himself, or whatever it is, somewhere around there.
Dude, they buy stock in them now, long term. They're at my hotel. I've been talking to a lot of
if that coach stays there, yeah.
Buy stock in that program and BYU athletics in general. I'm talking money. Like the more money, their fan base is massive. It is rich. That dude's running an MBA program at BYU. Like that is the way.
Everything about it. Yeah.
So they have 2 5-stars coming in next year.
Yeah, they are.
So they're going to make those guys. The one guy is going to make more than some of the best teams are paying their entire roster this year, and that's coming. That's still going to come from fans' pockets. This is not the athletic department that's going to be paying this. This is from the fans. This is from the donors, and the collectives are going to be shuffled around a bit. And I'm sure there are some schools that are going to want to only have to pay from the athletic department and not have to ask the fans, but it's not going to happen. The fans are going to have to continue to foot these bills in addition to what the athletic department's paying.
Hey, there's a guy who just walked into this hotel lobby. I swear to God, it looks like he's about ready to start a gunfight in the Wild West. He's got like a hat on. He's got like he looks like Doc Holliday in Tombstone.
Why are you doing this from the lobby? That's the last place I would want to do
because my
podcast.
Kids are up in the room.
Oh, Jesus. Those snot-nosed kids. You couldn't tell them to get the hell out of the room and go play somewhere for an hour?
I'm legit worried that there might be a gunfight, like a Wild West draw.
Do you have a Billy Bob Thornton t-shirt on?
No, it says Billy Bob loves Charlene. It's a Joe Diffie song.
John Deere Green.
Billy Bob loves Charlene.
Never heard that song. Did you bring Diffie?
Bullshit.
I've never heard.
Diffie's he's at the Ames Pet Resort. You would love this place, Chris. Diffie gets his own room with a television, and you can put it on whatever channel you want.
That's awesome.
Diffie's watching ESPN. He's watching the games.
What do you spend for daycare for a day for the dog? Like if he's just going in for the day, 8 to 5, what does that cost you?
I don't do that because he's not neutered yet. He can't do it because he'd just
like
hump
20,
everything.
$30.
It's expensive.
We're up to $44 at our place for a day.
Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go there and pick him up, and I'll have a $300-$400 bill. He's got to watch the games. It's March.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving that dog. Like, he's got to watch the games, man.
My daughter told me in kindergarten yesterday they had the game on in class. So
see,
love it.
In
he's not going to miss out on that.
That's great.
Oh yeah.
I used to love those days in school when they whether it was the MLB playoffs or something going on during the day. I used to skip school when the Big Ten tournament started to watch Iowa games.
I always I've had a shift. I used to this was a wild take, but before I worked in the industry, I liked the conference tournament week more as a fan because there's just constant games, right? Like
it's great. And it's there are more evenly matched games. The problem is we've just been shown time and time again as these games just don't matter to the selection committee.
Think about when we were kids, and think about those Iowa State teams playing in Kemper Arena, the Luke Recker Iowa run. Think about how big of a deal those conference tournaments.
That Luke Recker Iowa run, those were some of the best strung together days in my fandom, in my sports fandom. The buzzer beating shots to make that run to the Big Ten
Reggie
championship
Evans.
Game. Oh.
I should get Luke Recker on a CW pod or like that. Wouldn't that be
fun?
Go back and
blast from the past.
Yeah. I want to get Larry Morgan on.
That'd be a good one.
Talk about those old days when Raycom Iowa basketball is the highest rated show in the entire state. They were pulling 40 shares on a Tuesday night. It was crazy. And then you watch it now and it's just that's what's so sad about it. When 33% or whatever the number of ticket scans for the whole season at Carver Hawkeye Arena, it's just unbelievable. I want to thank some of our great sponsors, and then we're going to talk about Iowa basketball and where this all goes, because this show could be we don't know. We both believe Fran McCaffrey is going to be shown the door. from people we've talked to, just the feel we were getting. But as of 9:45, nothing has happened. Thank our great sponsor, Fareway, who brings you two guys, Chris and Chris, each and every week, twice a week on Iowa Everywhere. New sponsor on today, but a good friend of ours, our friends over at Iowa Corn. As an Iowa Corn Growers Association member, you get to help shape policies that impact your farm from the local level to Washington, D.C. The Iowa Corn Growers Association fights for priorities set by farmers, including higher ethanol demand, expanded trade opportunities, and key tax credits. Be a part of the movement, shaping the future of Iowa agriculture. Thanks to our friends at the Iowa Corn Growers Association.
Should we just real quick play Hassel's favorite commercial for Iowa Corn? Because I know he loves it.
Oh, no.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
Pump it up.
Don't make me bash a sponsor, please. Don't make me.
Well, cheers to the freaking weekend with our friends from Steeple Ridge Bourbon.
Cheers to the freaking weekend. Let's raise our glass of Steeple Ridge Bourbon.
My guy Pat Hoffman's a farmer. I bet he's growing some corn over there in Early, Iowa.
Corn makes whiskey. Hey,
I'm gonna do my.
Hey,
I want.
no,
Can I?
No.
I want to do a cheers
No.
to Tamin's groin.
What about Keshon's groin?
Keshon's groin too. I'm praying for groins. Some deep groin massages in Ames over the next few days. And fellas, cheers to your groins.
How's Don's groin doing?
It's my dad's birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday, Don.
Happy birthday, Don.
Cheers to my dad.
What's he drinking there? Martini?
Well, your dad was
He's got a little
starting shit with
martini
my
there.
dad on Twitter yesterday.
Oh my God. Oh,
Your dad had a banner day on Twitter. He was doing all that woke stuff with the Iowa softball team.
yeah, and my dad he can't not take the bait. Some Iowa State fans like, yeah, well, at least we're not all woke sons of bitches up here in Ames. Look at what your softball team is doing, kneeling for the anthem. And of course, my dad takes that bait, hook, line, and sinker, and he starts tweeting about it. This is America. You can do whatever you want.
My dad, we were once at a NASCAR race together.
Yeah.
And national anthem's a big deal at a NASCAR race. Like flyovers, they really pump up the pageantry when it comes to it.
Pump it up.
This is like right in the middle of the Kaepernick stuff, like when that's really hot.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad leans over to me during the national anthem and says, I dare any of these motherfuckers to take a knee here.
What would your dad do if Iowa and Iowa State were playing in a softball game and he was there watching it and he sees 4 Iowa players take a knee for the anthem?
He'd walk up to him and he would just bitch to everybody around him is what he would not be. We are a long, strong, proud military family, the Williams family. And my dad does not stand for that.
Look,
your dad's out there encouraging it. Your dad was out there actively encouraging these young women to kneel for the anthem at Iowa.
I don't think so. Please don't put that out there. He was not doing that. Oh God.
Happy birthday, Don.
People bait him so easily. He just can't. He thinks everybody is always being 100% serious, and he thinks he can have, conversations with these burner accounts. And I don't know. Just be careful, Dad. Be careful.
What's he doing for his birthday?
He is going out to eat at his favorite restaurant, where he goes like 3 times a week anyway. But I think he's going out to eat there tonight for a special meal. Monarch is the name of the restaurant. It's right on the border of Davenport and Bettendorf. Great place. Great place. It's if you're in the Quad Cities area, that's one of the great places to go for a great
Don
meal.
is watching on Facebook. He says, "America, love it or leave it."
See that he has no idea that means the opposite of what he thinks. That is a slogan from Ricky Stanzi. That is a Republican slogan.
Oh my God. This gunfight guy. He's wearing a trench coat. One of those like flat cowboy hats with like a turquoise like ribbon around it.
All right. We can't see it, so
I'm trying to describe it for you.
Yeah, I don't care. It does nothing for me if I can't see it.
I'm going to get a picture of this guy and send it to you when we get off the air. All right. So we did cheers to the freaking weekend. Iowa. Do you think that an announcement is made today?
It's a good question. This is Friday. So if you don't make it today, I don't know that you would make it over the weekend. We just saw Minnesota make an announcement on their head coach firing in the middle of the night. It was 1 a.m. local time that they made the announcement that they were moving on. I got to think, so the team's coming back today. I got to think if it doesn't happen today, it's got to happen it's got to happen before the tournament, before the NCAA tournament. It just, the announcement has to happen. Well, I think the decision has already been made. They might still be working through like, okay, what's the exact buyout here? You know, is he going to coach this team in whatever postseason tournament there is? If I had to, I'd put it at 50-50. The announcement comes today, 50-50. But I think it 100% comes before Iowa plays in some kind of postseason tournament.
Oh yeah, you can't wait that long. The other thing to keep in mind here, and I know everybody's thinking about this, but we should analyze it a little bit, is just who you're competing with to hire coaches. Minnesota's out there now.
Yeah.
Indiana now is reportedly sniffing around your guy, your boy.
Sounds like that those talks are getting pretty serious for Ben McCollum to go to Indiana. Keith Murphy has odds from Bet Online. He tweeted it out. What is this? The next Indiana coach, Greg McDermott, is the favorite. How old is this tweet? Is this recent?
That was from this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Greg McDermott, the favorite, minus 200.
Yeah.
Odds on favorite. Well, that would put DeVries in Creighton. DeVries would go to Creighton over Iowa.
Right. Yeah, if that happened, that would be
awful for Iowa.
DeVries would go to Creighton, but then maybe you get McCollum. If that's the case, I think McCollum and DeVries can both get much better jobs than Iowa, but it's going to come down to do you want your home state job? In what I would guess for both of these guys at some point in their career, maybe it still is their dream job to coach the Iowa Hawkeyes. But when you're getting these kinds of Indiana, you want to talk about a difference in NIL. Compare what Iowa is going to be able to do to what Indiana is going to do. They are desperate for relevancy, and they're going to go all in on this.
My guy Steve, I completely agree with him. He's watching on YouTube. He says McDermott would be an idiot to leave Creighton. I don't know why you would leave Creighton for Indiana.
Unless he wants some just last challenge in his career. You know what? The one blemish on my career is that I couldn't win in the Big 12. I couldn't win at Iowa State. But he's been able to do it in the Big East.
The Big East is arguably just as good of a league as the Big 12, in my opinion. The Big 12 has historically been better, but that's a really good league. That's high major ball. And going forward, You know what? There is a theory out there, and this is just, now keep in mind, Chris, this is just with the revenue sharing money. I don't know how many of these coaches and stuff you keep up with, but there's a theory that the Big Ten and the SEC schools are going to spend so much more on football that it will hinder basketball in those leagues, because
compared to what, the Big 12?
Yeah, because like the Big 12 football programs aren't going to be Iowa State's not going to be spending what Iowa does in football.
Mm-hmm.
In the revenue. It just, they're not like, they just can't. But Iowa State fans care so much more about basketball than a lot of these Big Ten school fans do, right? Like, and that's across the board in that league, though. Across the board in basketball.
I promise you, Indiana is going to spend a lot of money on men's basketball. I'm sure. Yeah, maybe a team.
I agree.
Yeah,
and
Iowa,
that's probably
Minnesota,
where this collective stuff comes in.
Yeah, I cannot imagine Greg McDermott leaving Creighton for the Indiana job right now. I can't imagine that. Either. If I'm gonna make a bet, I am not putting down -200 on Greg McDermott to go to Indiana. I'm not doing that. I think I think he'd be great for Indiana. I mean,
Indiana needs a substance person.
Yes, they need a guy that can actually coach.
Yeah.
If you put Ben
Chris
McCollum
Beard is interesting at 6-1 odds. Chris Beard. That's an interesting name for Indiana.
Yeah, he wins wherever he goes. He's got Ole Miss in the top 25 in the tournament. But McCollum, you give him those kind of resources, man, there's no telling what he can do. And JT the Nut says at Indiana, you're on the hot seat the minute you sign the contract, and that's true. That's why I don't know why McDermott would want to go over there. But for McCollum, I think he's such a good coach that he could take that program to the level that they haven't seen in a long time.
Is Indiana going to make the tournament this year? I know they're a bubble team.
They're right on the edge. I think they're going to get in, but they're going to be right on the edge. They lost yesterday to Oregon. I think most bracketologists have them among like the last four in. They might be in that play-in game in Dayton, but I think they're going to make it.
Thank our friends from Game Day Men's Health for sponsoring the show. A couple years ago, I would walk places and people would yell at me about placentas. Now it's testosterone. Everybody wants to talk to me about my testosterone levels.
Do you mind sharing with us what your levels are right now? Like, are you in the thousands?
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Because I take that estrogen blocker, too.
You don't want any of those female things getting inside you?
Nope.
You've never wanted a female inside you. What is the sliding scale, Van Wakes? Can you pull it up, like the average testosterone range? And I want Williams to show us where he is on the
I actually think I'm like in the 900s.
I got it right here. Hang on.
Last time I checked.
They just have that handy. Van Wakes just has this scale handy. Okay, what is this? Age 40 to 49.
Yeah.
What is that? Testosterone levels in healthy men. So what is this? This first one says 252 to 916 total T. What is that?
That's your like total. I don't know.
That's an average.
Number I know. Yeah.
That's average or what?
And
What's
you were in the
what
like.
The hell is this
you were
scale?
in the like 100s, right?
No.
It says for an adult man, typically considered normal is 300 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter.
Okay, 300 to 1,000.
So it's either you're manly or you're not, and that's why like normal for you is in the 300s.
And you're at 1,000, Williams?
Yeah, I'm right. I'm like in the 900s. But
nice.
The cool thing about Game Day, and this is why you should go to a place like this if you're going to do it, because they actually do labs once a month, so they make sure you're like doing it in a healthy manner, so you're not just going like RFK Jr. and just going crazy with the testosterone. That guy, he's just taking T injections every day. It looks.
He's taking T right to the tip.
My God.
He
Also
dips his tip in tea.
Thank our friends at Freedom Tire.
He uses his tip as a tea bag inside of testosterone. takes the tip. There's a cup of testosterone. RFK Jr. dips his tip into the testosterone and uses it as a tea bag, a testosterone tea bag.
I wonder what the testosterone levels of this guy who looks like Doc Holliday are. Because I swear he's going to shoot this place.
You are so distracted by this guy.
Well, it's so weird. We're in downtown Kansas City, and he's walking around in a trench coat with a flat brim hat. There's my daughter.
Huh?
My daughter's walking by him. I'm a little nervous right now. Anyways,
oh, God.
Want to thank our friends at Freedom Tire as well. Remember them, not just tires, folks. You can get your oil changed, all that good stuff. Friends at Freedom Tire, locally owned and operated. Shout out to Quentin and his team. Great people.
RFK Jr., he checks his oil with his tip stick.
He just, I don't know, man. I feel like it'd be too big to do that. All right. Well, I feel like this isn't the last I'm going to see of you in the next 48 hours.
Yeah. I feel like because we're going to have to react to whatever the announcement is, whenever it comes from Beth Getz. It's going to happen. Just don't know when.
Busy weekend coming up, and then Sunday, obviously, is Selection Sunday. We have Murph and Andy coming up here. Well, the good thing, I mean, if it happens, I hope it happens before Keith and Andy go on the air. That'd be great.
Yeah, did you see them in the it was a face palm moment, I think, for Murph and Andy, because in the Big Iowa Everywhere group chat, we announced that we would be doing our show on Friday, and Murph and Andy basically said, well, it's really nice. We're finally going to have a lead in to our show. Great. Not thinking that every single Monday, overthinking leads into Murph and Andy. What a slap in the balls to Scott Sipker. And Keith's own son, Cade, who produces that show, and poor Kenzo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for Murph and Andy to not even know that those guys lead into their show. I mean, overthinking has to get off the air so that Murph and Andy can come on right at 1:00 on Monday. They have to hurry off the air for those guys, and they don't give a shit. They have no idea, don't care. It's pretty sad.
I feel like we have a culture problem.
Yeah, we do. By the way, our little group chat's getting out of hand. I mean, there's like 15 people in there now.
Yeah, it's too much. I agree with you. It's completely. Wild Rose Casino brings us overtime every Thursday. Shout out to our friends at the Wild. I'm telling you, go to that one in Jefferson, guys, for the NCAA tournament. Clinton's got a great one too. These sports books there are phenomenal. Hit them up. That I don't know. Do you want to do the group chat conversation, or were you moving somewhere?
I thought you had to get out of here.
Real quickly, while we're on the topic of Murph and Andy, they're going to be live at Confluence today for the release of their beer, Downtown Throwdown, 1:00.
That's a sweet logo.
Got the
Has that always been the Downtown Throwdown logo?
No, new logo.
I think they changed it up since they switched, stations.
That's great. I love that. Little hop going into the basket.
Are you going to that, Matt?
Maybe. I know Aiden will be out there with us.
But we're going to get like 15 tornadoes today.
Yeah, that's not till later tonight. I think this afternoon it'll be fine. So get out there before the weather hits.
Can you go check on my house after this disaster storm?
Yeah, I got you.
Great. I would appreciate that. The problem is these storms, the ones that we talk up like this, rarely live up to like the snow. Like the longer you talk about it, I hope my instinct is right here. I like that this isn't as bad as everybody's saying.
I think the storm's coming through Kansas City too, because I saw the Big 12 announced all the stuff outside of T-Mobile Center is
no shit
canceled. They're going to move it inside. like all the fan fest stuff. Yeah.
I'm completely oblivious to all of this.
Yeah.
Well,
so what are you going to do all weekend, Hassel? Just sit around and itch your ass?
let's see. What am I going to do? I don't know. I was hoping to watch a couple of big games today for Iowa and Iowa State, but that's not happening. I have no plans. Nothing.
You're just going to sit and
which
stare
is
at the
great.
wall?
Well, I mean, you got all these conference tournament games, even though our teams aren't playing in them. I'll dabble in that. It's really nice out. I'm going to probably sit outside for a little bit today. It's about 75 degrees. Beautiful weather. No tornadoes down here. I don't think we need to do a real overtime today because I have a feeling we're going to be doing some stuff whenever that announcement comes.
Derek is watching on Twitter, and he thinks maybe this cowboy is a storm chaser.
Oh. You should ask him.
I'm gonna go and talk to this guy and get a
you
selfie
should.
with him.
What do you guys do? You're going to what?
I'm going to there's like a
science museum,
something like that. I don't know. I'm going where they tell me to. Today is the girls' day.
Okay.
I thought about Legoland. Think that got vetoed. I think we'll come back and do the swimming. The only request I have, I just want to watch BYU Houston. That's all I care about.
And that's late night tonight?
I think that's a 6:00 game. So
good. Okay.
Yeah.
And how long are you staying down there for? Are you there all weekend?
I'm gonna go home tomorrow so I can reset because next week's nuts. Tournament week.
Yeah.
Like that bracket comes out and I'll work for almost 20 hours straight. Like,
jeez.
So it's great. It's my favorite time of year. I love doing it. It's a lot. Like, and it's so much easier when I rarely am home on Selection Sunday because I'm usually coming back from Kansas City because Iowa State just makes the finals so often in this tournament. So it's like I'm actually looking forward to being home on Saturday and just being able to do all that on Sunday like normal. So
all right. Well, thanks for
and then
bearing
next
with
week
us today,
I will be on the road,
because...
but we'll do a Monday show like normal for sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do Thursday at the normal time because I have a March Madness pregame show at 10 a.m. Central that day. So we'll figure out when our next show is going to be next week.
Maybe do Wednesday if we have a Thursday or Friday game, depending when Iowa State gets slotted.
Yeah,
so.
We'll just have to see on my travel, but we'll figure that out. I got to just find out if I'm going to be in a plane, if I'm going to be dry, all that stuff.
All right. Well.
All right.
Have fun at the Science Museum.
I hope that this cowboy didn't get offended by I'll have to report back. No, so we do have two events today and tomorrow. The college basketball tournament watch party with Circa is tomorrow at Wellman's. All those boys are going to be out there having a hell of a time. And Murph and Andy Downtown Throwdown today. That is a phenomenal beer. I'm not just saying it because they're my friends. It's one of my favorite craft beers in Iowa. I look forward to it every spring. So go out and buy yourself a 6-pack or whatever.
Save one of those for me because I've never been able to have one of those.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'll buy a bunch. I'll just put it in the old beer fridge in the garage.
Yeah, I'll have one of those instead of drinking one of those weed beers that you had, the CBD thing that just totally screwed me up.
You were just so high.
Climbing kites.
God.
That night, Matt.
Oh God!
That night
I don't
you
want to
were with
imagine
us.
a hassle on a climbing kite.
We got home. We got back.
It was
to
like
my house
2 in the morning.
Yeah, like 1, 2 in the morning, and we've been drinking alcohol since I don't know 2 in the afternoon, and Hassel at 2 a.m. decides he's going to lay into the CBD beer like seltzers. I'm like, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah, it was bad idea.
And then your puffy ass face and our pictures the next day.
And we had to do pictures at 7 in the morning the next day.
Nobody noticed my attire change during the show.
Oh, you put that Kaepernick jersey on during the show?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Van Woe?
Oh, my dad is just pissed if he's watching.
Shipley noticed in the comments. I appreciate that.
That's hilarious. I thought
Van Woke and my dad are gonna go barnstorming in Iowa City, trying to wrangle every person they can to kneel for national anthems.
That's great. Well done, Maddie. Good job, buddy. All right, appreciate all you for watching, hanging out with us on a Friday. Remember, Keith and Andy will be on at 1. Thanks to Fareway, Channel Seed, all of our great sponsors. We will be back on Monday morning for sure, probably before then. Later.